How are we getting on? Today we're joined by the lovely Keego. Now, myself and Keego go far, far back, about 2 months. And I go off to see a comedy show with a girlfriend. This links to the Sinead Walsh episode if you haven't seen it. And I was talking to Keego for a while, and Keego, class comedian, hyped himself up something awful. I'm thinking this is the next big guy. And I show up to the show. The fucker checks my tickets. I go up. We're waiting. Okay. First person goes on. Sinead. Sinead was great. Next person goes on. Still no Keego. No Keego. No Keego. End of the night. Rooney's on. Okay. He must be the opener for Keego. And then, nope. No Keego. No Keego. What was going on?
No, what I learned in sellout school, always leave them wanting something. And so that was the principle I brought. Talked myself up as we all do as fellas. But then when it came to the crunch, I let you down. So I do apologize. Next time, I'll probably let you down again, but it'll be during a show. So it'll be grand.
Grand. Well, it was a lovely little event, and thanks for getting on. Kind of wish I heard you perform though.
Yeah, we tried. The problem is with a 3-day festival, I kind of bit off more than I could chew. There's a great group of us, the crack dealers, who really helped me run that weekend. But there was just too much going on that, things changed at the last minute, and everything was a mess. So it was great fun. I'm glad it all worked out. I'm glad it all happened. But I had no hair left to pull out. So I'm glad it's over.
Well, fair play to him. And you started comedy like right before this whole shenanigan started, and you've only gotten back into it recently. That must have been rough.
Well, I started comedy and then the world shut down. People thought it was some fella riding a bat in China, and I think it was actually just me trying to tell masturbation jokes that caused this entire issue. So yeah, like basically a few of us started there February, got a few gigs under the belt, and then the world stops. We moved online. That's where I met the guys. I met Ben, Alo, Sinead, Jess, Betsy, all these guys who we're running shows with now. Met them online, and then whatever was it, the 22nd of September? I can't. Again, time has lost all meaning now. But whatever that date was, we all just ran back out into the wild, and started doing gigs again. So it's now November, and we've seven gigs in November, including a trip over to Nottingham. So it's been absolute madness trying to get back to it, and hopefully it's going to calm down a wee bit now in December. But it's been mad to see people in 3D for the first time in a long time. So yeah, I'm still kind of treating it like a WhatsApp conversation. I have a little aubergine that I bring with me just in case, because I can't figure out how to deal with people in the real world anymore. But no, it's been great so far.
Well, fair play to you. We know some guys who tried to do like Zoom shows, like didn't really go their way. So I'm kind of amazed you got it to work. I can imagine it's fucking awkward.
It is. It's anything you do online for money is awkward. You know yourself. But no, it's. I think once you go into
slide eggs.
But you know what I mean. Like once you go at it with being heckled online, you can just say, "Oh, I've got a problem with the Zoom," and turn it off. Like it doesn't affect you the same way it affects you in real life. Now, luckily, everyone was in a good mood in most of these gigs, so it was great. It was a great way to do new material and things like that, and build a setup. But doing a gig to the world from your laptop in your living room, you don't even have to wear trousers. Like it's there's a level of comfort that goes with it. I may or may not be wearing trousers right now, but
okay, thank God.
For a small fee, for a small fee, I'll stand up. But no. But no, I found it great. There was a good vibe around the place. Everyone wanted to have a laugh during lockdown. The problem is now everyone is back, thinks it's 2019 again. It's back to normal, and they're sitting back a little bit at these gigs where they're kind of going, right, impress me now. You know what I mean? And it kind of adds a little bit element of danger. But thankfully, I'm well equipped for danger. Oh, tell you, don't make me stand up. The people don't need to see that. The Zoom is savage on this iPad. That's why I'm saying it.
Is that an aubergine, or are you happy to see us?
It's 14 aubergines. I got them in the deal down the road. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I did know. I think I'd freak out trying to do those shows. It wouldn't be for me.
Yeah,
Um,
some people absolutely hated it and just avoided it. Like, you can't say avoided like the plague anymore, can you? Really, really avoided it because they just couldn't. They couldn't handle the. There's a delay. There's all sorts of weirdness going on a Zoom. We've all been on Zoom calls. It's exactly the same, but some people just couldn't handle it, and they just hibernated for a year, 2 years. Didn't write anything new, and they're still doing the same sets now. I'm not firing shots at people, but actually I am. They're doing the same shit now that they were doing, 2 years ago, and it's a bit lazy.
that is one thing I know, like you have to do it in comedy. Like you can't write a new joke for every single fucking thing you're doing if you're on tour. But I hate hearing like the same joke twice. Well, when we seen Three Books Left, I wanted to go to other shows that they were doing because it needed to be close by. But my worry was, am I gonna pay for the same shit again? I love those guys,
Yeah.
but it's just nature of the beast.
Yeah, it is a tricky one because you gotta have your A set that's gonna kill, and the problem with that is because it's your A set, you've tested it everywhere, and so if you go to two shows, you may hear the same thing twice. Whereas, like what we're doing in the crack dealers, we're writing as we go, so there's kind of a percentage of the set keeps changing all the way around. So if I'd have performed there on the Saturday, Sunday, whatever day it was, over there at Eargasm, and you came to see me, this Wednesday in the Workman's, it's a 50% different set. Now it's been tested, like whether it's online or in front of real people, but that's the game we're playing here. We're trying to add new bits and pieces to sit there with our security blanket of masturbation jokes. You know what I mean? So that
They're
if
fucking
you,
funny.
oh, I tell you, there's nothing funnier than having a wank on a bus. But it's if you do that, you won't get back on the bus. I can't remember what we were talking about, but no, we try and keep the shows fresh because we are running similar venues. Like we found some great spots, but we're going to be going back. And like you say, the worst thing is here knowing where the joke is going. So we try to avoid that.
I think I told one of the jokes to you, Thomas, and you said you heard it before.
Which one was that? Yeah, sure.
I don't know.
Oh, it was I do something he'd said, but like, "Do you love me now, ma?" Something like it was very funny.
Yeah, I've heard that
She put her own spin on it. Hear those
Yeah.
like "Do you love me now" kind of joke before, but yeah, hers was like really funny. "Do you love me now, ma?" When she was like started acting like her brother or something. She's
that's my favorite joke. That's my favorite joke of since we've come back, because
that's why I told it. It was so fucking good.
The setup is absolutely beautiful, and every time she gets into it, it's just fucking magic. So sorry, I don't know what the language rules are.
No,
here,
you
so
can curse.
Okay, I'm fucking sorry.
Cursing on our Christian podcast. Unbelievable, Keego.
I tell you,
Three Hail Marys and I'll sort of forgive you, I suppose.
I've my rosary belt on here, so if I stand up,
rosary belt. Get out of here, that shit, man. Fuck off with your rosary belt, man.
Yeah.
I'm not a Christian, but I am circumcised. So just in case anyone's wondering.
Thanks for that. Being the description.
Yeah.
Things to know about Keego in informational section. Here's his Instagram, circumcised. What you 6'7", 6'8"?
Owns 14 aubergines. Yeah. What the fuck even was that? But yeah, I don't know. Nature of the beast. People do it. You're saying beforehand that much like myself, you got into Game of Thrones over lockdown. What was the story there? Was it just okay?
Yeah, well, like everyone, you kind of run out of conversation with your loved ones, and you jump into Netflix with both feet. And people either go into The Office or they go into Game of Thrones. Now, we did all the normal stuff, the Breaking Bad, Sons of Anarchy, Sopranos, The Wire, all that sort of good stuff we did years ago, back on DVD. But we jumped into Game of Thrones. Now, I married one of these people, you call them readers. And so all of the books were read ahead of time. So the problem is then you're watching it with someone who's already read the book, and they go, it's better. It's better in the book. You can imagine everything in the book. You could go, well, look, you can imagine it no more. It's on the fucking screen. So I was basically watching it for the writing. If we're being honest, this is a confession hour. And there was a lot of, as it went, I enjoyed it, but I wouldn't you know what I mean? I wouldn't lose my mind over it. I enjoyed it. You know what I mean? That'd be about it. A good level of enjoyment. You know, 4 wanks out of 7.
Fair play to you.
I
Yeah.
don't, I don't know you. I don't know what you thought about it, but there was a lot of dragons.
I only gave it 3
Eggs
wanks
and-
out of 7, to be honest. Now, with you, man.
Yeah, you see,
Not,
there you go. Like
not a big fan.
that has to take off. The RottenTomatoes.com needs an upgrade. It's RottenWanks.com or something.
It is no, man. It's like, 7 wanks out of 7 wanks for Paddington, but you're only like 6.5 for Casablanca or whichever one there was that got voted
Yeah.
down. It's like, I don't know, man. I don't really trust them when they say they're not wanking over the bear and they're not wanking over the
Oh,
old one.
gee.
It's like,
Yeah, the new SpongeBob movie. That's 7 wanks out of 7.
anyway, now that
That's
we've
so
completely
fucked.
derailed our own careers and nobody will ever want to see us in the light of day again, I thought
Yeah.
it was pretty good until the last season, to be honest with you. The last maybe 2 seasons, they kind of felt
Last 3
rushed.
episodes.
Felt very rushed and kind of, we need to finish this now. And no, we can't make the other. I think it should have been 5 or 6 episodes that we usually make. But it's like, no, it has to end right now, right here. Why the hell are we making another 4 episodes? We're on a
Yeah.
we're on a schedule here. So one of us need to make Star Wars next month,
Exactly. I think the dragons were about to get together and form a union and join SIP2 and get proper payment for these. So they had to finish it early. It's a bit. I don't know if you guys watched Lost years ago, where it was supposed to be 3 series and it was going on at a decent clip, and then halfway through series 2, they got the money to make 7 series. So then they just dragged the arse out of it for 5 years. You know what I mean? It was just awful. So at least they put Game of Thrones out of its misery pretty quickly, but before the dragons could get their money.
Do we know someone from Lost? I think James was in it, and like he was like the pilot that got sucked into an engine and died in the first episode.
Oh, brilliant. It's a great series. The
Oh.
first episode is magic. Like, it's really, really good.
He's a
Go
method
on.
actor. God bless his soul. But, yeah, I'm pretty sure that was him. Yeah, I only watched maybe the first season of it, and like there was like an invisible friend at some point, and I said, "What the fuck?" I was gone.
Yeah,
I thought there was a
bears.
dinosaur initially. I heard the fucking roar in the
Yeah.
jungle. I was like, "Oh boy!" But no dinosaur.
Yeah, it's like, oh boy, I'm not watching any more of this. Yeah. Now, polar bears and bunkers and secret societies and all that sort of shit. It's like, all right, I give up my hallucinogens in my teenage years. I can't stay in this story.
The
Yeah,
problem with TV shows, man, is that they do have that factor. They don't know when to hang it up. And you're saying, like you said earlier, like Breaking Bad kind of knew when to give it a rest. Then with like other TV shows, they end the right time. Stuff like, I haven't even watched Lost, but I know people have a problem with its ending, or people like don't really like it, like in the later seasons. Same with like me and you were talking about The Office. Office didn't know when to give it a rest either. They kind of dragged that out as well. It's a shame to see TV shows go out like that, to be honest.
but then there's good ones that go on. It's Always Sunny.
Yeah, there are a few, but it's like us when we're on a night out on the Guinness. You know what I mean? We should know when to stop, but we just don't. We end up on the news. You know what I mean? It's just terrible. But there are a few that do it perfectly. Like the UK Office, that's only what 2 series, and then Father Ted's only 3, and you kind of go, well, that's I'd love a bit more of that, but it's the perfect time to stop. Whereas you throw money at Americans, with all due respect to our American brothers and sisters, they'll keep going. You know what I mean?
And if there's money to be made, it makes sense. So go on.
And that ends the economics lesson. That's
Yeah. Yeah, but like Star Wars and shit's gonna go on forever. Like they will
Marvel.
never stop making that. Same with Marvel, yeah.
There'll always be like the next big superhero coming next fall. Iron Man 2 Reborn, Robert Downey Jr.
I
completely
think they're making a
CGI.
new Iron Man. They announced something. I think it was that big Disney event.
He's fucking dead, man.
Yeah, but they announced Ironheart, like it's a successor.
Oh right, like I said, that'll always fucking go on like
Yeah.
forever and ever and ever. And it's like, oh yeah, this new baby's gonna be Captain America, man. Just out of the room.
Yeah.
Henry Cavill got cast as Captain Britain.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I've commitment issues. I can't commit to all these films and all these characters and all these offshoots of
Mm.
characters that existed in the real world. It's although there's a Star Wars cartoon that I enjoy, but outside of that, I just can't commit. There's Marvel. They're going to be in the old folks' home soon, and that's going to be the next Marvel. And Harry Potter as well. Harry Potter and the prostate exam of fire. All this sort of stuff. They're just going to get older and older and older, and it's going to be terrible.
Yeah, especially when they bring in these immortal characters and we're seeing them age.
Prostate exam of fire. Hold up.
Yeah, yeah.
How the
What's
fuck?
going on there, man?
I think I missed that book, man. But go on.
No,
Remind me.
J.K. Rowling. It's just when Harry gets older and he's having a few problems. Still living under the stairs because rent is very expensive. And he just gets old. Once you hit your 40s, that's what happens. The doctor doesn't take any interest in the front half of you. He just rolls around to the back to make sure everything's working. It's all ahead of you guys. I've an
regret
instructional
asking, but
DVD.
thanks.
I've an instructional DVD to send you. You'd be grand.
Yeah, I got
Don't even
nothing
send
on
it,
that,
man.
man.
I say just do it live here on the podcast.
I got nothing on that. Prostate exam of fire. Get the fuck out of here.
Can we just clip that bit and use that as our ringtone? Prostate exam of fire. That'd be just brilliant.
Yeah, that's just rotten. Yeah, I got nothing on that one. Fuck.
This
think
chat
you've
was such
ruined
a good
Harry
idea.
Potter, man.
Yeah, this
What you say,
chat was
Thomas?
such a good idea at the time.
I said he's ruined Harry Potter for me, man. I'm never gonna be able to look at it.
He's made it better
Same,
for
man.
me.
I'm gonna watch Goblet of Fire and be like, "Oh, you just wait till 30 years time, man."
Oh
Oh,
fuck.
Harry, life is easy when you're a kid. Wait till you grow up and you get a mortgage. And you need to get things checked out from the back.
I've never even fucking watched Harry Potter the full way through. There's always like one of them will play at Christmas, and it's the same fucking one, and I'll watch that and whatever.
He's just annoying little shit. Like the baddies are always better in these films. And there's the weird creepy old lad who there's a weird creepy old lad who follows him around with a big beard. He's about 12 foot tall, carries a big stick. You kind of go, look, I don't like this. She's copied Lord of the Rings. Let's all just say it out loud and move on to watch Basic Instinct.
Dude, you could say that about fucking everything. Did Game of Thrones copy Lord of the Rings?
Yeah, anything with a wizard. Yeah.
Did The
Everything is
Hobbit
copied.
copy Lord of the Rings?
Hobbit is the Lord of the Rings, man.
I know.
Fuck.
Joke
Wow.
just flew over your head.
You got very serious there for a sec. The Hobbit is Lord of the Rings, motherfucker. Don't you dare joke about that.
He's about to quit live on air.
Wouldn't surprise me. Yeah.
Yeah. What else is overrated? What you watch over quarantine?
Your podcast.
Hey!
I don't know.
Do you know what's good? Do you guys watch American Horror Story or any of those ones?
Oh,
I've seen the first couple of seasons of American Horror Story. I can never watch it like whole way through. I have to watch one season, man, and then I'll take a 3-year break and I'll watch the next one. I don't know what's up with it. It's like
me and Stranger Things.
They're all dead at the end of it, and like, all right, so I was like, whatever.
I think that's been my find of lockdown or whatever the fuck it was, where it's all self-contained in one series. You can walk away for 3 years and then roll back into another series. It's really like we watched 3 or 4 of the series in a go, and one of them was about the occult, one of them was about witches, one of them was about a circus. So I bought a gun. I have knives hidden under every single part of the house, and I've put shutters above in front of every window. So they say TV doesn't affect your own personal life, but yeah, it really does. It's scared the absolute shit out of me.
I didn't think it was that scary.
Yeah, you have to watch Harry Potter and the Prostate Exam of Fire first before you go into American Horror Story.
Yeah.
It's where J.K. Rowling gets all her ideas from when she just accidentally walks into somebody's surgery. Fucking.
What is she doing in the waiting room again? She just keeps staring at people. What's he in for?
Please, I need to write a 4th book. Please let me back in.
Didn't she write her first book in a ditch? Like,
No,
she
on a
wrote it like
napkin.
homeless?
On the napkin, she wrote it. On the train. Came up with the idea first. Don't know about the whole book though. But she's doing fairly well all right now. So
Yeah.
Yeah, it's she sits in the waiting room. It's like, what are you in here for? I have a fear of intimacy. Right, Harry Potter and the fear of intimacy. The next series. Yeah.
I was felt bad
fucking-
for them, man. They like have zero idea how to use math or English or like just basic shit. You like science, man. Like, oh, what if I like, what if my colon explodes? Wizarded away there. Like, what?
That just went over my head. What the fuck did you just say? What if my colon exploded?
Wow, no, man.
You had me a colon exploded.
Yeah. And then I just went like, what the fuck are we at?
Yeah, we'll edit this out when we go live. It'll be grand. Don't worry about it.
Oh, 20 minutes in. Yeah.
When the real audience comes in, we'll be fine. Yeah, it'll be
Yeah.
Be a fucking 3-minute podcast, man, is what you're expecting.
I edit all the bad stuff. So, yeah,
welcome
3 minutes.
Keego, and I just want to thank you, Keego, for coming on.
Yeah.
Ah, yes, career suicide. That's what we call this.
Mm-hmm. What the fuck is up with my camera? It just keeps turning me blue. Like, I just keep getting darker and darker in this room.
You're fine for me, man. I don't see anything weird.
Well for you. Well for you. Well, unfortunately, what they see on my screen is what they see. So I'm looking pretty blue for everyone else. Yeah. So back to the comedy bit there. How'd you even get into it? You just thought one day you're awful funny and you gave it a go.
No, it's something. Comedy and music was in my house all the time, and it's something I always loved. Loved the reaction. It's like, geez, I got very serious there for a second. My voice dropped and everything. No, I just love the reaction I had on everyone in my house. So I've loved it forever. Always wanted to try it. And then a friend of mine, who is a comedian, she's engaged to one of my best mates, and I was talking to her about it. And apparently, the thing you shouldn't do if you want to become a comedian is to do any sort of course. So I signed up for a course, and I did that in town, and it was great. If anyone's ever thinking about doing it, it's run by a guy called Kieran McMahon in there in town, and it just teaches you that it's about consistently trying, because not all of it's going to be good. And then so 2 weeks in, I got my first gig in Hope. He sent me out there, and it was 5 minutes, which may as well have been 5 hours. You know what I mean? Like it could be anything. And in that 5 minutes, I got a grand total of 3.5 laughs out of 5 minutes, which was the best feeling in the world. I've just hit the ground running from there, and I tried not to say no to any gig, and just kept going, kept hitting it, and fighting the urge to be lazy. There's a cohort of people being very lazy, and so there's a group of us trying to not be lazy, and it's the best buzz it's the best buzz in the world.
Yeah, there's something different about comedy shows. I only had my comedy show virginity taken fairly recently. It was a very loving experience. But like that was the second comedy show I went to, the one you guys just had, and like I was going off on the anniversary with the girlfriend to Galway the day after, and we said, let's try find a fucking comedy show. We're leaving Wednesday. There's about 6 on Wednesday and nothing in between. It's heartbroken. But just love them now. I want to go to all of them. Because, like you're saying, the buzz in the room, it's incredible.
Yeah, and even if there is a couple of dickheads, like on the Friday of Eargasm, I had to throw someone out because they had gotten the chemical intake wrong and they were on a first date. So he was obviously very nervous. And he started heckling, like abusive stuff. And so I went over to him and I said, you got to chill or I've got to kick you out. And the lady he was on a date with, very, very attractive woman, she shook my hand and she looked at me like, she was so apologetic. And I was like, no, you're fine. You can stay and we'll find you somebody else here tonight. No problem. But we've got to kick this guy out. And so we ended up kicking him out. So even with that, there's a bit of comedy in a heckle. There's a bit of comedy in a gobshite. And so like, as long as no one is being abusive, it's all good. Like we were in Mullingar, September, in a great little room in the Columbia Bar there. And there was a woman who started drinking before she started having breakfast. And this was late at night. And the amount of crack we got out of her, nobody did any material that we planned. There was nothing done, but the interactions with the audience was just, you won't beat that. And it could have gone the wrong way. She could have just gone absolutely apeshit, but she was great fun. And you get that at a comedy show. You don't really know what you're going to get, but the comedians are generally pretty good, and they're able to read the room and work the room. So like, we're hooers for the giggle, and we'll do anything for it nearly.
One thing I noticed when we were at a 3 Books Left thing in Newbridge, there was this one stupid lad. Jesus Christ, he wouldn't shut up, and everyone's having a go at him because he said he's killed his sister or something. I don't know what it was.
No, he started off with like my sister, and my sister joked once. Everyone laughed their fucking asses off at it, and then your man, what's his name again? Peter. Peter comes out with a wig, and he's like, "That's my sister," and then everyone's seeing this, and the next guy comes out, keeps joking about the sister, like, what the fuck's going on with this guy's sister? And then the killing thing happened, like the joke. It was a bit less funny than the rest, but it was like a weird heckler adding to everything. And it was one guy, like, older man on the Guinness, speaks for itself.
Wasn't me, for legal reasons, just to point out.
I thought you looked familiar.
Probably wasn't me. Probably wasn't me. But no, like,
bald
it's
and
a
had a
tricky.
beard, nothing like you.
Thank you very much. The camera, there's some sort of weird filter on this camera here, lads. I don't know what the story is. Yeah, full head of hair like Patrick Swayze, just before he died. Sorry, that got dark there. Sorry to all the Patrick Swayze fans out there.
But yeah, hecklers, fuck them, but they can be funny sometimes.
Yeah, you should be able to shut them down. Not to, you know what I mean? It's not that I know anything about anything, but like, I used to be a pro wrestler, and there's nothing more embarrassing than being half naked, fake fighting in front of strangers. And so you've got to be able to shut people down pretty quickly, because you don't really have too much legitimacy to stand on if you're there in spandex, fake punching people. So I take that into the comedy. Now, not the spandex. I don't bring that. That's OnlyFans stuff, but it's something I take into comedy. So we're able to shut people down pretty quick. Apologies for the mental images there.
Yeah.
All right, man. We talk about this. Me and Jared actually talk about this. What is the appeal behind pro wrestling, man? Like,
I don't think there's any.
We don't get it really. Not.
Well, like, it's a weird thing. I think a lot of people have it when they're kids, and some people never grow up. I never grew up. I hate it now. I can't watch it. It's awful. But back in the day, like, I've been all around the world doing it, and it was, when it was good, it was just exactly like improvised theater or something. But like, to people who are not into it, I could never explain to you the joy of it. You know what I mean? It's a bit like people who like One Direction. It's absolute garbage, but to them, they're the Beatles. You know, so that's kind of
if that's your Beatles, you're fucked.
Yes, exactly.
Sorry, man. What's wrong with One Direction?
Give it up. Number 1. Number 2, you're fired.
I'm going through a tunnel here. The Zoom is breaking. I've got to go.
Yeah. Fuck them.
Who are the Beatles? I don't
know. I compare it to the UFC because we're massive UFC fans, but like, they're actual martial artists, and they're training pretty fucking hard rather than bodybuilders acting. Now I know people.
Could I throw something at you there, because you hit the UFC thing, and that's a brilliant comparison, because if you look at the people who make the most money in the UFC, and the UFC is obviously legitimate, amazing, all that sort of stuff. I got my Thai club here, but no, the people who make the most money are the ones who bring the pro wrestling bullshit into legitimate fighting. So you look at McGregor, you look at Henry Cejudo, was trying to do it, but no one took him seriously. All these kind of guys who are making, Tony Ferguson, if you look at his record over the last 10 fights, we really shouldn't be talking about him, but he's charismatic. He's a brilliant interview. He can talk himself into anything. Nate Diaz, all these guys, they bring all that theatrics into it. And that kind of makes up for, in some cases, a lack of talent. Masvidal is a great example as well. Like, they talk themselves up. And you look at someone like Usman, for example, who is he's an animal. He's a monster. 1 in a billion athlete. But he's not talked about in the same breath as McGregor, as even Masvidal or Nate
Dude,
Diaz. You know what I mean?
he is currently the pound for pound best fighter on the planet. He has the BMF belt. He is a champion in his division. He's never lost in the UFC, and he gets booed every time he fights.
Yeah.
What the fuck is he doing wrong?
I don't know. I think he looks to be an honest guy. He looks to be no games. He doesn't talk shit, and he backs everything up. There's no loss on his record, so there's nothing to come back from. You know, you look at McGregor, you look at Diaz, you look at Masvidal, all these kind of guys who have losses on their records. The comeback is the money. You know, and that's the problem with him. He's never going to lose. No one's going to be able to touch him. Colby tried it again the other weekend, and it's always I'd watch them fight every week. I'd pay double for it. But like, you look at Colby, he's another example. Obviously, he's amazing, and if Usman didn't exist, he's right there. The fact is, he's where he is because of his God. You know what I mean? Chael Sonnen, another example. You know, Usman is going to be fucked because no one can beat him until he gets to be 50 years of age. You know what I mean? That's it. And the trick with him, it's a bit like Leinster in the rugby. Like, it's keeping that consistent level of output when you are not demolishing, but you are beating everybody without getting out of third gear. And it's very hard to keep the head. You see it in every MMA, boxing, Thai gym, all around the country, all around the world. There are guys in the gym who are up here at the very top, and then there's a group at just underneath, and then there's a group way down here, but there's no change at the very top. There's a group of guys. It's hard for them to keep motivated. So that's the key with Usman. How's he going to keep motivated? He can't worry about it as long as he gets paid.
Yeah, it's weird with the division he's in. It's just recycling guys to fight him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you look at Jorge Masvidal's record, as you look at Usman's, he had no business fighting Usman. He'd no fucking business doing it. Like, yeah, you got Ben Askren. You would have got him anyway if it wasn't the viral knockout. Like, he's a shit striker. But yeah, I don't know, man.
It's a
No
money
business.
game though. Like, exactly. It's a money game. Like, Masvidal, people love him, and you kind of go back from the Kimbo Slice days where he was in the back garden fighting people. It goes from there, and you build he has a relationship with the audience that Usman doesn't have. But that's probably because Masvidal has massive amount of losses on his record, like you say, but he's come back. He's had good fights with Diaz. You know, he's got that viral knockout. But then Askren getting hammered by Jake Andor, Logan Paul ruins that knockout. Really, it kind of takes any legitimacy away from that. But no, it's the problem is it's a bit like all sport. When it gets to that business, the graph of sport and business, when they intersect, it's always meldy. It's always rotten. And that's what that fight was. And thankfully it ended the way it did, because it kind of shows that sport beats business.
Imagine being Ben Askren and like two of the most viral knockouts ever are you getting knocked out.
Well,
and you're known as the worst striker the UFC ever had.
He rolls it to the bank and he's got $3 million sitting in there. You know what I mean? He can take care of his family. That's the entire point of the whole thing.
I don't think he minds that much, man, to be honest. Like, he seems pretty content in life. And, you know, he said whether he lost or won that fight, he'd be back and training wrestling Monday. Like, the guy doesn't really care about it. I think he kind of took it on a stride, man. Didn't mind losing.
He's talked about it before. He does mind it.
Probably minds the fucking Jorge. That probably well with him now, losing that fight. But Jake, man, I don't think that. I think that was kind of like, this guy says he's going to give me $3 million. All I got to do is stand up with him for 2-3 minutes, not even, you know, and like then I get paid and I can go back home and buy a new Ferrari, you know.
Yeah, like he wasn't in shape. He had hip surgery. We knew what was going to happen, and it just happened a little bit quicker than I think everyone expected. You know, that was it. Like the Woodley one, I think was a bigger joke because it was only afterwards that Woodley realized that he could have, if he'd actually done something, he could have ruined him. He could have hurt that guy, and he didn't do it. And he's never going to get another shot. He's never going to get another go. So forever, he's the guy who was in there and didn't knock him out, and that's going to haunt Woodley far more than Askren. Askren's a rich man. Like he doesn't have to go on Twitter. He doesn't have to see any of this shit.
It's disgusting.
Yeah.
At the time, Jake Paul was in Disney. Tyron Woodley was like mauling guys in the UFC. He became a UFC champion in the same year.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's disgusting. And then to see like where they are now, and like this fucking idiot better UFC champion. That must be really embarrassing for Dana White, because it kind of shows like the standards they have there.
Well, I think it also shows that the damage done to Woodley in the UFC, specifically by Usman, just made him gun shy. He was petrified, and he saw Askren fall like he did, and he didn't want to be that, so he kind of didn't do anything. And then a couple of times he realized, okay, this is a child I'm in here with. I can knock this person out, and he just didn't pull the trigger because he was frightened of what was coming back. That's the problem when you get old. That happens to everyone. That happens to all of us in old age. You know what I mean? Whether you're sparring in the gym or a fight in front of people, there will be a moment where you're tested and you go, look, I know I can knock this person out or finish this person or whatever the thing is, but I also know something's going to come back, and I do not know if my chin can take what's coming back. And that's what happened to Woodley. You know, it's unfortunate. 5 years ago, it's not a fight. You know,
No, man. So guys, like,
It's a
he's like
murder 5
40.
years ago. It's a fucking murder.
Jake's nearly like 16 something years younger than him. It was like it's tough to
Frozen.
watch, man. It's weird, man. It's like Jake saying, "All right, I'll fight Usman now." Like if Usman hopped in there with Jake, man, it would be murder. If anybody, Jake joined the UFC, man. There's a bunch of guys in his weight division right now that would, like break his neck. I don't know. Like,
but it's easy to call people out. He knows what can't legally take the fight. You know what I mean?
yeah,
It's like Usman calling out Canelo. Like, it's easy to talk. It's easy to say shit, but he knows that no one in the UFC is going to take this fight because they can't. Legally, they can't, and he knows that. So he may as well call out fucking John Jones. He may as well call out Cyril Gane and Francis Ngannou and all these guys. You know, why not? It gets clicks, and there's a group of kids who love that guy and his brother, and who believe in what they're doing. Is his brother going to fight Mike Tyson?
it's
Yeah.
rumored, yeah, something.
That's going to be murder.
Yeah,
Oh my God, he's going to knock the bleach off his head.
What if he beats Mike Tyson?
Well, he's the more legit of the two of them, apparently. But I think when you're standing there looking at Mike Tyson, whether he's 55 or 105, there's a little bit of shit coming out the lower half, both sides. That's how frightened you're going to be. Tyson is, if he goes 3 rounds with Tyson, where there's no weight differential, he knows that if Tyson hits him, it's hospitalization. He knows that. He knew when Floyd hit him, it wasn't going to do that because there's 40 pounds on him.
Mm.
You know,
That was ridiculous.
I didn't even watch it. Didn't watch it.
I don't mind what Jake's doing. I kind of understand the thing behind Jake. Like he's actually fighting guys. I don't like what Logan's doing. Fighting fucking Mayweather, Tyson. Feels like cheap. It feels like you don't even care about it really. It's gonna be another exhibition. So it's like, what are you doing it for, man? It's literally just for the money. Doesn't feel right. Even though I know Jake's doing it for the money as well, but it's weird, man. The two of them doing their own thing, let them at it. Don't really take much notice. Try not to. I'll probably watch this fight in fucking December though. To be honest, I like Tommy. But
I hate the two of them. I really like. I in fairness to Jake Paul, he's fighting better opposition at a 4-0 fighter than Canelo, than any of the guys did at 4-0. But I've no interest in the Tommy Fury fight. I think Tommy Fury's also fighting people who have lost 20 fights. Working. They're not even good enough to be bouncers on the door in London, and he's just hammering them. Again, if he loses, which he probably will, that's him done. And it's not. You watch Canelo last weekend, and you sit there and you're enthralled by that Canelo Plant fight. You kind of go, this is top level, amazing boxing. Plant, you could tell Plant was kind of in the headlights a little bit. He's never been on that stage before, much like Canelo when he was fighting Floyd. But he was moving well. He did well, and but just forget about anybody else. Just watch Canelo. That's it. Canelo and Katie Taylor. That's it. That's all we need.
Not bad, man. I like watching Fury now, to be honest with you. I'm big Fury fan. I like him a lot, man. I like that Deontay Wilder fight that happened recently, but I'm looking forward to Katie Taylor's fight next month as well.
Oh yeah. That Deontay Wilder fight now, was that a fight? It wasn't a boxing match. It was a fight. They were just hammering each other, and so Imagine being Anthony Joshua going, right, Wilder couldn't move after the second round. Sorry, I know we're not talking about comedy here, guys. But
Oh,
Wilder couldn't move after 2 rounds. He was so gassed up in the upper body. If that was against Joshua, even the Joshua against Usyk, Joshua kills him. You know, and especially if Joshua can stop trying to be a Klitschko and go back to where he was, or mix the two of them, whichever, because you can't discount the Klitschko style in totality. But if he can mix the two things, you know, the Dillian White, Anthony Joshua with added skill and less body weight, puts Deontay Wilder in hospital, and also will get his hands on Fury if he fights the way he fought against Deontay Wilder. So that kind of opens everything up. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a huge Anthony Joshua fan. I think it's like the abuse he gets is very, very unfair. You know, he's kind of caught between two stools. He wants to be a boxer. He wants to be a Klitschko, but that's not really him. You know, like that, what he did early in his career, sticking his tongue out, smashing people. If you add a bit of skill on top of that, that's not unbeatable, but it's more unbeatable than being stuck between two stools style-wise, you know?
I agree. He made it far too technical with Usyk instead of just kind of going back to your basics. You know, I like Joshua as well, you know, and, you know, watching Fury versus Joshua, man, it's going to be in my stomach because I want, to be honest, I'd prefer a Fury one, but like at the same time, to see like him being good, you know, but yeah, that's a super fight, man. And Jesus, I hope Joshua beats Usyk so he can get those belts back and make that fight happen.
It's going to be amazing. Yeah, like, and
seriously.
I think I can only imagine standing there opposite Usyk and seeing those feet move, and you go, I have not trained for this. I have no idea where he's going. Like, everyone in every gym has that situation with someone far better than them, and you've got to try and figure out how to navigate that, how to get your hands on this person. And you know, he was doing the complicated crossword when he should have been doing simplex. You know what I mean? He just got confused, and I don't think it happens twice. You know, you don't get confused twice because Usyk won't change. Usyk is brilliant, but he won't change.
Like robots there, man. As a Ukraine, they literally make Klitschko's, Lomachenko, like they're there.
Dude, anything in that region.
Seriously, like they're literally like smaller versions of Ivan Drago. It's crazy.
Oh, and then out there, Triple G as well, who is he's my favorite. He's just an absolute animal, and it's just unfortunate that he's a little bit older now. And Canelo's avoiding him for the third fight until he gets a little bit older. He's learning from Floyd, but you know, I'd love to see the third fight with those two, and I would love to see Canelo or Triple G win the third one to go into a fourth one, because he should have won was the first one he should have won? I can't remember now, but he should have won one. Canelo should have won the second, and then we roll into the third. But yeah, Canelo is a bit like the All Blacks. You know, he's protected by officials a lot of the time.
You see that, especially in UFC as well. If there's like a champion, it goes to decision, man. It'll go to the champion, or the more liked guy, or like kind of like, you know, Nate versus Conor too. Even though Conor did well, I think people always kind of know that Nate won that second fight, and that they probably why they're not making a third one, to be honest. Who knows? Because apparently Diaz is fighting in December, and McGregor's still hip hopping around. We'll be fighting Sir Steve-O, Al Foran, man. Looking forward to that.
How crazy is that? Don't mind that I'm frozen. How crazy is that? That Steve-O managed to book that fight.
Fair play. Look, fair play to him. Like, it's, you know, I was a Conor fan, and kind of all this shit happens, and you kind of fall off that bandwagon. But the guy still gives back whenever the head's clear. You know what I mean? He goes back to the boxing club. He goes back to these events because he knows what he's worth. He knows the story, and he's helping these guys out for charity. It's absolutely, you can't not applaud that. You've also got to balance.
Well, there's a lot who won't applaud it.
Yeah, but you also got to balance that with stuff we can't talk about in radio. But you know, it's such a pity that story hasn't worked out the way it kind of should. Because the example of what he's done is amazing, and the example he sets for kids would have been amazing, as long as they don't Google Conor McGregor.
I think, to be honest, man, I like to kind of keep him immortalized in that 2 or 3 year era.
Yeah.
And after that, man, I kind of just say, shut up, will you? Will
you
fucking retire already?
You pretend he went and retired after Double Champ.
Man, never seen again, man.
Yeah.
Khabib was always angry about it, but they never actually fought, is what I tell him, man. And You know,
You
pretty
keep saying
sad.
to me, Thomas, that Connor beats Khabib 9 times out of 10.
As a joke.
I know, but it's fucking hilarious because you say that to anyone, it's like, yeah, fuck off.
Do you guys not believe that? Not agree with that? No.
He beats him out of 9 out of 10
Oh, it's more like
times.
8 out of 10 times.
I go 9.5 times out of 10. I think the mentality is, it's tough. I think Kamzat called him out the other day, and I was like, oh my god, take my money. Just unreal.
Jesus.
Those guys are absolute killers. It's hard to, what's the phrase? It's hard to do the run when you're wearing your silk pajamas or whatever.
Yeah.
It's Kamzat he's gonna murder everybody.
Those guys scare me, man. Fucking Russians, Dagestanis, Chechens, man. They're like different fucking breeds. Look at them, like all the Russians in the UFC right now, man. They're all like on the fucking verge of it, like of becoming like these champions who just aren't going to be beaten until they're old fucking men.
Yeah.
It's weird, man. Shit. I mean, I like
think it's weird.
I think give him like another 2 or 3 fights, he'll be there.
Oh, it's his belt. It's him and Usman is, oh my god. They put the price up for that. I'll remortgage the gap for that one.
Yeah. Good luck to Usman on that one. That's. But we say that every fight Usman takes. Like people said that with Colby. People said it with Masvidal. People say it for whoever the fuck. Dilbert.
The guy's been hit twice.
I don't think people.
Maybe hit a lot more.
I don't think people said that about the Masvidal fight though. I think they tried to sell it that way. They tried to sell that, but I think people with a brain.
50 grand on Masvidal to win.
Yeah, there's stupid people everywhere. You know what I mean? Like it just takes one stupid rich person.
I don't think he was rich by his reaction.
I didn't fucking. I told you that in confidence, man. You know, like, I had big money on Masvidal winning that.
Give it up.
I had insider knowledge that Usman would miss that right hand and that Masvidal would bring him back and headbutt him, flying knee, trying to listen. He'd fucking knock him out and submit him in the same fight, bro. It's gonna be awesome.
I'm asking you as a friend to give it up.
I'm gonna have to lightly disagree and say no.
Masvidal beats Usman 9 times out of 10.
The drink he's beaten twice. I disagree with that.
Yeah.
You won't sell many of those t-shirts. My God.
I know, man.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, no one beats him anytime soon. But then when you look at Conor, it's like, okay, who could he beat? Who is like high enough that he'd be respected to fight? Like Donald Cerrone barely hit the mark for people to be like, yeah, it was a fair fight.
Masvidal's the guy. Masvidal's the guy.
No,
that's it. That's the match.
They're gonna chuck Masvidal and Covington down to the Ultimate Fighter. It might actually be the first season I watch of the Ultimate Fighter, man. Like that'll just be interesting as shit. And then they're gonna fight, whoever wins gets a title shot kind of shit. It's like that's interesting now.
Just
let Leon fight. Just let Leon have the fucking title shot.
Nah, man.
What else does this motherfucker have to do?
Yeah.
Win.
Well, it's clicks though. Like he's not going to get it because of the clicks. He's not a social media darling. Like that's what it is. Jorge is, and they'll give Jorge a chance. McGregor is, they'll give McGregor a chance. Even Cerrone is really great on social media. They'll give him a shot, not a title shot, but they'll keep him employed if you like. But none of them are going to get near him.
I feel bad for Leon, man, because he's very technically sound fighter. It's like you said, man. It's the money. It's the talking. He doesn't have it for some reason. Don't know what it is, but just lacks that kind of charisma of interesting to watch. Because you'll know who'll win. You kind of knew in that Diaz fight he was gonna win that. Diaz hasn't looked good in years. Diaz, did nearly fucking finish it in that last one. I'll give him that. Fucking, I was on my feet watching that for that last minute. It's a shame he didn't finish it, man. It would have been Nate Diaz for the title shot straight away. But Jesus,
Diaz will bleed out and get back up and bleed out again before he gets knocked out.
Yeah,
like he has to be killed in that octagon for him to stop. you know.
There was a thing, an interview Michael Bisping the other day, and he was talking to some YouTuber guy about YouTubers getting into fighting, and he was trying to explain exactly what you just said about these guys will bleed out and get up and keep fighting. It's like It's like, rugby players will get up with after concussions and keep playing. American football, all these kind of guys, because they're wired differently to all of us. And so when you see YouTubers like Jake Paul, okay, Jake Paul's kind of doing it differently, but a lot of these guys, there's a subculture of we're going to get into fighting because we've got everything our own way. You're literally this close to brain damage at whatever level you're fighting at, because it's all relative. You know what I mean? Me fighting someone at my level is the exact same as a title fight. Obviously, the skill level is a little bit lower, but the actual relevance of skill on skill is exactly the same. And so that's people don't understand that when they watch the UFC. They get a few beers in and they're throwing jabs at the television thinking anyone could do it. When if you go down to your local gym and you just do training, forget about sparring or whatever, just do the training at the low level, you'll find out a lot about yourself, and you'll find out in real life that most of us, 99% of us, are absolute pussies. And these guys and women are wired so differently to the rest of us that it's got to be applauded on every absolute level. Sorry about the rant there, but it's
true.
It's unreal what these guys, men and women, do.
What was I saying the other day? Like Francis Ngannou was like what, 260?
Yeah.
Fair, yeah.
What's the is it bantamweight 130, 135?
No, that's yeah, something like that.
I say we send 2 flyweights in after him. What do you think?
Well, hang on, my ordinary level maths doesn't add up there. Well, yeah, it does add up there, but you need a few more lightweights, because if you think about it, how many 260-pound humans have we seen in our life? Now, I'm older than you guys, so I can count. There's a handful, and that's only because there used to be a lot of wrestlers running around Ireland. You know what I mean? Like Sheamus is 260. Drew Galloway from TV is 260. But like, if you walk down Grafton Street or Main Street, wherever, how many 260-pound human beings, not fat, but ready to rock and roll human beings, are you going to see? None.
Yeah.
He's a mutant.
That guy is scary.
And then you look at Cyril Gane as well, how quick he is on his toes. You look at Tyson Fury, how quick he is on his toes, and you kind of go, these guys.
That one doesn't make sense. Tyson Fury, he's an anomaly, man. The fact he can move the way he moves, in the shape he's in, it's astonishing, and he gets in better shape every time he fights.
It's unreal. It must be physiological or something. It must be a tendon thing, because I was reading about a test they did on Yoel Romero. I don't know where I read about it, but obviously
I've told us before.
But
I love this story.
Apparently his tendons and everything is just thicker than a normal human being. So he's going to move differently. He is different. He's built differently. And all of these guys and girls are built differently. Like Amanda Nunes, I'm not going to talk about Chris Cyborg, but like all of them are built differently. And I just really think we don't appreciate that. You look at Tyson Fury dancing around the ring there the other week, and you kind of go, we've seen it before. We've seen him do it, whatever it is, 32, 33 times. So we're used to it now. But it's only when he's gone and we see the next generation who don't move like that. They're not that big. And we go, it's like when people talk about Muhammad Ali and how he moved. It's because no one had done it in the meantime. It's like Tyson. No one had done it in the meantime. And it's going to be the same with Tyson Fury. Like his brother doesn't do it. His 2 brothers don't do it. Wilder doesn't do it. None of the guys do it. Usyk is a little bit close, but he still doesn't do it because he's not as big. It's frightening what these guys do.
It's incredible. But yeah, Yoel Romero, man, with that thing I heard as well. Like they were like up to 3 times as thick in different places. Behind his eyes, that little fucking thing that moves your eye about was 3 times as thick. I don't know, does that contribute to like how well he did in the fight? But holy shit, literally built different. That guy was like, how old is he? Like 40, looking like he was
26.
Late 20s. Like he was just the best shape anyone in the UFC was.
What an absolute prick.
Well, in fairness, with the way he didn't make weight, yeah. Poor Israel Adesanya looking like he got fucking smashed by a gorilla. Because he basically did.
There's another absolute freak as well, Adesanya. My God, he's amazing to watch. He kind of goes
lanky. He's so lanky.
Oh my God! And you look at what he did to Romero. You look at Romero's legs, and you kind of go, "Yeah, it doesn't matter what's going on behind your eyes, there, big boy. I'm going to break your leg." And it was just amazing. I know Costa as well. Like him in there with Adesanya. It was men and boys. You know what I mean? They had no idea. And like Romero's no joke. Like Romero's legit. He's obviously maybe a little bit too old right now, but like Costa's a joke, and he was found out as a joke. But yeah, it's Adesanya is just a frightening human being.
Yeah, he's
Yep.
crazy, man. Seriously, I love him. I love watching him. And
Mm.
you know, there was talking about Usman and Adesanya. I don't know if I want to see that fight, but damn, it would be entertaining as shit.
Well, I tell you what, I'm going to give a couple of fighters in my gym a shout out for everyone to go and watch, because they are similar to Adesanya. So there's Craig Nolan and there's Tiernan Brennan, right? And they're tall guys, small torsos, long legs, long arms. And the same thing happens when you see people against Adesanya, when you see people against these two guys. They start off in their stance, and you can see the opposition see Craig and Tiernan just all of a sudden turn into praying mantises, and they can't get away. Whether it's any sort of strike, they can't physically get away, and you can see them get frightened. And it's exactly the same when you see Adesanya in there, with certainly with Costa. Now, it didn't happen with Whitaker or Romero, but for the most part, when people are in there with Adesanya, they start moving around, and they start tapping away or whatever, and then all of a sudden they see Adesanya just get bigger and bigger. No matter where they move, he's able to get to them, and it's just amazing to watch. Those two boys, they're Tiernan's fighting next weekend in Sallynoggin up here for King Cowley's gym, Warriors gym. They have a pay-per-view on, and Craig Nolan's fighting. He was fighting for the ISKA title a couple of weeks ago. He'll be fighting again in January. Definitely worth your time. Proper Irish Thai fighters.
Best luck to him.
There you go. Right.
Some tough motherfuckers.
Absolutely. Don't hold pads for them. They'll break your face.
Yeah. Right.
That's how you end up. That's how you end up with a face like this, lads.
I remember when I did kickboxing when I was younger, and there was this lad who had like he was so much better than everyone else, like his age, and if he didn't go down a dodgy path like he did, he legitimately could have made it a career. When I think of wasted talent, I often think of that guy, because he was like so incredibly good. He could fight anyone, no matter what size. Because when you're in the gym, you're fighting guys who are like they could be older than you, taller than you. Doesn't matter what weight it is. Just training with everyone. He could beat fucking everybody, but wasted potential.
He could. Yeah, it's very sad. You either go one way or the other. Like, these guys are quite young in the gym I'm in, and you can see the responsibility they're given in the gym, and you can see them reacting to it as younger people, like they're 19 years of age, and you can see them reacting to that responsibility they're given, and you can kind of go, right, they're going to stay on the right path, which is great. The guy in your gym maybe wasn't ready for that kind of, or maybe wasn't given the responsibility at the right time, and that's what the coaches do. They pick the right spot to add to the bag these guys are carrying. And maybe your man's carrying a different type of bag now. I don't know, but no, it's the gym is a great spot. Like, it's certainly during lockdown, the training and everything certainly helped me. And it's whenever you've got shit going on in your mind, going to a training session, even if you spar, don't spar, or whatever, it does get the body moving. You move the body, you feel a bit better. You guys know
that. Yeah. How do we go from comedy to here? No one will ever fucking know.
Yeah.
It's not exactly funny to see the lads get their heads poked off them, but yeah, you got some stuff coming up, don't you? Like you're still doing a bit of a tour.
Yeah, so November is the kind of big month for us in the Crack Dealers. Obviously, the Crack Dealers comedy on Instagram, I think, is the best place to go. If you roll over to KeegoLaughs.com for all your comedy porn needs, all the links are in there. But as we're sitting here recording on the Wednesday the 17th, we're in the Workman's Club with Eric Lawler and Fiona Frawley. So that's in the new venue they have downstairs called The Cellar. It's a beautiful little spot. Looks a bit like Moulin Rouge, or do you remember Eyes Wide Shut? That weird orgy scene. It looks like that. So come dressed correctly. So we're in there on the 17th, and then on the 19th, we're representing our country over to Nottingham, the Nottingham Comedy Festival. So we're all going to head over there and take over Nottingham, leave it in ruins, and then we're coming back. We're up in Sandyford House there in Sandyford Village on the 24th. Back in the Grand Social then on the 26th, which is kind of a Friday after work show, which is going to be great. And then we finish the month in Clondalkin Oh wait, there's another one just been added on. Oh no, that's next month. So in Clondalkin. So it's all there, keegolass.com or Keegolass on Instagram. And I just found out that there is a dating app for people who love bacon. That's called Sizzle. You can find me on there, Bacon Batman. All the links are in there. Part of that's not real.
I was about to ask, what the fuck was that last one?
That is legit. That is real. There's like farmers only, Christian mingle, Sizzle, all this sort of stuff.
Jesus
But
Christ.
I'm not on any of them
That's unfortunate.
for legal reasons.
Maybe next year.
Yeah. If the comedy scene gets going better, we'll see. But yeah, so if people want to check out, you got those shows going on, and are you funny, Keego? I'm just asking, like.
It's all subjective, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Some people, you know, I wouldn't have a partner if there wasn't a market for everything. You know what I mean? So, you know, come along and find out. Actually, boom. This is professional, lads. Right? We're circling back here to the gigs. 17th in the Workman's. Come along and find out if I'm funny or just funny looking.
There you go. I suppose that's it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't fucking know. If you want to go see this funny fucker, you know where to find him. Maybe this time you'll get to see him perform, unlike me. I was heartbroken.
Always leave them wanting something. That's the key. You know, whether
go.
it's love making or comedy, always leave them wanting something.
There you go.
That's it. That's it. So earlier on we were talking about Sinead Walsh. We also did a podcast with Sinead if you want to check that out. And it was equally as good crack. And Sinead and Keego work together at the moment. Funny people, funny stuff. So, who knows, might see them there as well. So, let's go and say we thank you to our patrons. These are fucking sound.
Hello, patrons. How are we? Keego here. I've been told to tell you that you're sound fuckers. And so I believe that is true. Keep being sound fuckers. Keep patronizing the patronage that you're currently patronizing. And yeah, maybe I'll see you soon. I'm winking at you.
Take it, Andy. Good luck.